most of us, our first taste of retirement planning happened when we entered the workforce and our new boss offered up a 401k, maybe even a pension. Well, that used to be the standard. Now it's more the exception than the rule. So how do you start saving on your own? Ohio's retirement coach Greg Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group is here to help with this and so much more. Always good to have you, Greg.
It's great to be here.
All right, there are a lot of things we kind of take for granted, I think, as being the norm. Not only 401k, but company matches, pension plans, all these things. So are you seeing more and more companies ditching these benefits?
They absolutely are. More and more companies don't even match the 401k, much less provide pension plans.
All right, Sarah in Columbus wants to know, how can I plan for retirement myself if my company I work for doesn't offer any of these retirement plans?
Well, a lot of people are stumped because, they're thinking, well, if I don't have a 401k, what can I do? Well, you can set up your own individual retirement account. What I like even better is the Roth IRA. Yes, you have to pay the tax up front, but it gets to grow tax-free. And as long as you meet the guidelines, everything you take out later will be tax-free as well. So I really like the Roth IRA idea, especially if you have no other retirement plan already in place.
It's always better to pay the taxes now. You're paying less. You just got to think about it, get in that mindset.
Yes, for most people it absolutely is. And you have to think, where are taxes going to go in the future?
Exactly, not down. All right, next up we have Bill in Hilliard, who is at the opposite end of his retirement planning, I should add. He says, my wife and I are 70. We have $950,000 in the market and another $680,000 in our emergency fund. We have no debt. Good there. I'm considering selling my portfolio and putting everything in a money market. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we get really out of balance when we go too far in any one direction. Some people absolutely are counting on the market for everything. They're in 80–90% of their money's in the market, and so if you're retired, that's a little bit too much waiting on the market. But to go the absolute opposite spectrum, now you're not going to keep pace with inflation. You've done a good job saving. Now what you need to do is take advantage of all three worlds of money. So have some money in the emergency fund, maybe a little bit too much there right now. Have some money that can provide income with good solid insurance companies, and then use Wall Street for your long-term growth perspective, where you're no longer going to be worried about drawing out money from that. Just let it grow over time to keep pace with inflation. Have a good balance.
And that's what you talk about a lot,
Yes.
the worlds of money, having a balance, because
Yes.
you don't want all your eggs in one basket.
You really don't. And whenever someone is overbalanced in one area, it ends up affecting them in a negative way.
Okay, we have James in West Jefferson. He says he is intrigued by fixed indexed annuities, says they almost sound too good to be true. Is there something he's missing? So first, explain to us what that is.
Well, a fixed indexed annuity is an annuity that links to the market. So if you say you are linking to the S&P 500, if the S&P 500 goes up, you get a gain, but if it goes down, you get a zero. You don't lose any of your principal. But no matter where you put your money, there's always a string attached. And what I mean by that is, yes, Wall Street has risk, but you can pretty much get to it whenever you want to. Banks don't pay any interest, but you can pretty much
Get that money.
Get it when you want. But in annuity, typically there's a time commitment. So maybe that's 5 years or 7 years or 10 years before you can take it all out without a penalty. So understand, you need some that's liquid, some that's the true market growth, and some that protects your downside, but also it has some limitations there, so you have to understand what those are.
So it could be a really good option if you are in it for that specific amount of time, right?
That's exactly right, and understand that you need that balance again, because when we have that balance, then that having a restriction on our withdrawals doesn't matter, because we've got other areas from which to withdraw our needs.
Okay, makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Greg. And of course, Greg is sticking around. Right after this short break, he'll lay out some common money mistakes, and more importantly, we'll be able to tell you how to avoid them.